Hello folks, and welcome back to the channel. Together with these great partners, we are able to bring you quality information to help you reach your whitetail habitat goals quicker but more proficiently. Northwoods Whitetails, Plot Doctor Harper Growing Solutions, Scent Thief, Real Wood Productions, First Form Outdoors, Ace Hardware of Harrisburg, Kentucky, Bass Pro and Cabela's. For this time of the year, the phone's ringing out the wall, obviously, and I get a bunch of questions that pertain to where do I start, right? So if you are a follower of the channel, you'll know that a couple things. You'll know that I promote taking care of your access and exit strategies, right, first and foremost. But following that, when you start doing your habitat work, instead of just running the chainsaw in random willy-nilly areas, you have to have a thought-out plan, and hopefully, I'm the one that got a chance to help you put that together in a strategic plan before you start the chainsaws. But if not, if you're learning from the channel and some others that are out there, and you're going to try to do this on your own, I get this question, where do I start? And that's always with Doe Bedding, but it's so hard to answer that question because everybody's ground, their tree species, their land is something different. What I'm going to show you here today is what I did. I'm going to kind of give you this is kind of a December a December project list, I guess you could say, or starting way to start your projects, but also an update on what I did last year, to show you kind of what that looks like just a year into it. So you can see in the background, guys, this is part of the farm that I had logged the first year I was here, and and there's still a bunch more. I took some walnuts out of here, and we had some maples and just shade killers, not habitat worthy. And you can see what it's done in here. The browse is through the roof, but what you can see also is we saved the about 20 to 30% of the cedars. Farther north you are, the more cedars you can save. We saved that, and the reason for that is, guys, is to keep that thermal protection in these bedding areas when the weather this time of the year especially gets bad. So it's hard to answer that one. You can't answer that with a one hat fits all, and sadly that's what a lot of the recommendations in this industry have turned to is, hey, just go in and hinge cut your doe bedding areas, and that's what you should do. Well, that's couldn't be further from the truth, and it gets so many people into trouble because if you go in and the species that you're cutting shouldn't be hinge cut, or maybe you're not even a hinge cut candidate, right? It takes a trained eye in order to get used to that from years of experience, right? So one, like we always said, don't do the from afar discounted habitat plan from somebody that hasn't seen your area or that bedding area you're working on specifically, because sadly about 20 to 30 of my clients a year have got caught into that trap and paid a cheap fee. People never set foot on it, or somebody came there and spent 2 hours on it and told them that they had all the magic in their pocket, right? And we have to go clean it up. So about 20% of properties that I go on to need hinge cutting, the rest don't. So what I'm saying, guys, is without going too much down a rant hole there, but I'm trying to explain to you is when I get those questions, I try to answer them as best I can, but until we get to that point that I can touch it and feel it, it's hard to answer that. Reason is here. What we did on this one, we had it logged. I had some logging that had to be taken out of it, so I took the trees that when he was logging around the farm on a select cut per the design, we went in and we took the valuable marketable timber off. Then what I did is I came back and I immediately did a invasive extraction. I've got Osage orange in here. You can see I edge feathered the food plot. The food plot lays right here behind me. that was wide open to the food plot before. Edge feathered that with a few of those Osage orange. Eradicated a bunch of the locusts, and I did about 10% hinge cut. Other than the brush I got piled here from today, guys, because I'm rerooting this a little bit after now. I just didn't get to it last year. Finishing this, that area right there from that licking branch that way is where that was done, and you can see the stem count and how it's blown up. So it got there right without just saying hinge cut everything. That's not how it goes. I wish it was that easy, but it's not. It's hard to, it's like I said, not a one hat fits all. If you're in a situation where you have hardwood, combination hardwood, softwood, you need to start with the bigger timber first. Then you need to go in and you need to, if you have any logging done, get that down to 14 inches. Then you go in and take a survey of what you got. The first thing that comes out, so you're removing just pieces of the canopy, is your invasives. You can hack and squirt or hinge those, or kill cut those. You don't want to hinge cut your invasive. Kill cut them. The next step is how much structure at that point do I have on the ground, and do I need more structure, and do I need more correct vegetation through that hardwood, and do I need to hinge cut? So that's the process that you kind of ask yourself before you just go in and do that. So make a decision on what your area needs. So I'm going to show you guys, last year I did this and I had this trail mulched, and I got to move it away from the stand. It was just too tight last year, knowing that this year with just another week of tree work, I'd have had this piece completely done. I just got to run this. I'm going to turn you around here. I just got to run this part of the transition past, take right where this ribbon is. I've got to just take it down through here and connect it right back to it. So it's just like a 40-yard, 50-yard little rerouting. I guess I have to do, just move it over right here in front of the stand a little bit. But you can see, guys, this is the trail. This is the transition. Mulch trail. Doe bedding there because the stand is on this side. The stand is right here in that big cedar. And so the wind is coming out of here. I need the wind coming out of here. And that makes them want to be here to scent check it. So as you can see, I didn't force them out in the food plot. Kept them off about 20 feet. Wind coming out at the side of their head. A lot of morning movement back this way. A lot of PM movement out to the food plot. This food plot's really small right here. I'm about 60 yards off from it with that stand. And one part of it I could probably air it out and hit the plot if I had to. Just really small, almost a shot plot. It's just a piece of the puzzle that ties a lot of movement in from some ag across the road. So doe bedding, guys, I'm going to walk you up here and I'm going to show you what actually, this, by releasing this canopy last year, and this is on one of those Built by Whitetails episodes. I'll find out which one it is and label it in here for you. But this is what it turned into in year one. So we'll walk up the transition here on our way out together, guys. So like I said, this is that 6 foot wide, 5-6 foot wide mulch trail. And then we mulch it about, here I got to mulch it about every 2 to 3 years depending on the growing season. But I mean, you can see per the contour, per edge, you can see this trail through here is just beat up. That looking branch that we just moved over is just telltale sign of how much they cruise through here. Every buck on the farm has went through that. Got a corridor right here that goes out into that. The buggy is sitting in the food plot there. Get up here above it. It actually turns right there, right on that cedar's all rubbed up. But this is what one of my doe bedding areas turned into. 6 months after I finished it. So it's hard to say what yours you know, what species you have in, but this is the stem count. This is the look, obviously, that you want to remove that canopy. This is the sign that you know it's working. It's not too thick. You've got deer moving through here. Like I said, that cedar's all rubbed up. It's just perfect cruising. It's set up right for them. Actually, big old scrape right here. Cut that limb out. Big old rub right there in that cedar. And that doe bedding, guys, is right over there, about 50, 60 yards, or 75 yards from here, I guess it is. 75, 80 yards is where I had shot Atlas a couple years ago there. So it's just kind of a testament to show that it is working, and if it's treated kindly with some edge feathering so they can cruise down through here. But like I said, guys, it's hard to just say, yep, go in and eradicate this and hinge cut that without seeing it. I can do my best to try to explain it to you. And most of the hardwood ones, you obviously want to start with that. You want to start with your bigger timber, and then you want to take your cedar, you want to take your, if there is any cedars, make sure your cedars are cut back to about no more than 50%. And then do some, you know, you can see a lot of these locusts I just cut down in here, and cut down in here, and to get the sunlight to the, you know, to the forest floor like as we need it. Just looking, there's a couple big beds right there, and then after you eradicate your invasives, then you look at what you're going to hinge cut. So you can see one hinge cut there, you can see one there, I got two over here, you got probably a dozen, you know, there's one right in front of us. So it's not all just go in and hinge, right? But look at the grasses, look at all the green underneath. I mean, this is December. Beds, doe bedding all over because the food's right here. So just keep that one in mind, guys. Most of the time, timber stuff, I can say yes, give you that strategy. But I do things, you know, we put doe bedding CRP areas where, you know, you have to go in and burn. This could be burned in about a year or two from here, or now, right? Set some of the trash back, let some of the new regeneration go. You're keeping the cedars, you're not getting it so hot to keep or kill the hinges. If you're in CRP, we're making these habitat pockets out in, you know, it's not just ocean of switchgrass. You got to have browse. So there's just so much. What does your piece need, right? The fact of the matter is, at the end of the day, you want to make it more habitat valued for the does closest to the food source, and that opens up the core, right? Have a chance for bucks to bed on you, which a lot of the properties I go on, they aren't doing that before. And maybe your property isn't big enough that you can't house the bucks, and that's fine, because if you draw the does to these areas where the does were bedded, even though they might be on your neighbors, was habitat correct. Where they left from was habitat correct. That's why they were bedding there. You pull them to here, that opens up the door there for a potential buck to bed. Yes, he might be on your neighbors, but he's a half mile closer than he was before. So it's a total game changer. So take that one to heart, guys. Just this time of the year, a couple of couple of lessons there, I guess, if you will. I just, like I said, guys, I don't want to sound like I'm taking from any other consultant or anybody out there that's just trying to help people, and that's not what I'm saying. It's just, it's very frustrating when you walk on a property and the client has 6 months, a year worth of cleanup, and that's on the good side of it. Sometimes it's a couple of years worth of cleanup because everyone just said hinge cut, hinge cut, hinge cut, and it wasn't the spot that you should have had to hinge cut, or not as much as you had to. So like I said, hard to explain on the video. I can do the best I can to show you kind of hands-on, but that's the power in having somebody that does this for a living, not just a side hobby, and really comes and touches and feels it with you and really makes them great educated decisions and gives you a plan to work off from, not just a I'm here for 2 hours, this is what you need to do because everybody needs to do this, one hack fits everybody, and best of luck to you and you never see them again. That's not what my business is, and that's not what a lot of guys that are doing this in the industry is. But just err on the side of caution. If you're going to do it yourself, it can be done. That's why we have the channel, right? Just remember, this time of the year I get calls saying, hey, I went in 2 days after the season, went in there and I did 2 or 3 days worth of tree work. How does this look? And so I ask them, you know, the whole list of why did you do this? When did, you know, how were the deer using it? What was your, you know, your design? How does it flow? And usually that stumps folks because they didn't start there, right? So because I have failed at this years and years ago, and that's over years and doing this full time, I'm able to you know, kind of get you there quicker and you know, with less turn back and less redo work. So I hope this one helps, guys. We're going into the end of November or end of December. Merry Christmas to everybody. Probably going to do a video or two before then. Enjoy the holidays, and remember, think it out before you just start the chainsaws this December. Thanks, guys.